Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone has had a great week. Welcome to tonight's episode of Print and Pretzels. And tonight we're going to be covering kind of what's something a little more closer to home here, what we're looking forward to buying in 2026 and what it means for us, and exactly what kind of specs we're looking for all these new machines that are coming out in 2026. So grab your pretzels, grab your ice waters. I've got my notes and Cat Riley here, keeping our notes down to earth here. So we're going to get started in just a minute. We're going to get some more things tweaked in the back end here. We had some microphone problems we were troubleshooting here. That's why we're a little late on the live stream tonight. But stay tuned. We're going to get some things tweaked in the back end, and we'll get right back with you. All right. We got those things taken care of here in the back end, and hopefully y'all can hear me. We had to troubleshoot a little bit of mic issues this evening. It wasn't connecting with the computer, so we restarted and took care of that. Um, so tonight, what we have planned, it's kind of like a three-part segment that we're going to go over. But I want to catch you all up on some developments that have happened over the last week or so. So our Snapmaker videos have been super popular. Shout out to everyone that's watched those. I really appreciate that. That has pushed us to the first level of monetization for the YouTube Partner Program. So we put that application out there to YouTube. So it takes about 30 days for that to come back. So shout out to everyone that's been here since the early OG days of the live stream. So thank you guys for tuning in every week. That's been a milestone we've been waiting to achieve. So it's been achieved now. The next level is that 4,000 watch hour mark. And we're getting there. I think we're like 3,200. So again, thanks for tuning in every week and putting up with all the cat hair and all the fun that we have on these live streams. Uh, so the second thing that I want to cover tonight, but as announcements, uh, we did get our first review printer in this week. So I'll switch you over to the Alpha Centauri side so you can see our Wonder Maker ZR has arrived. So, excuse me, I have a little bit of sniffles going on tonight. So we're going to be getting that, excuse me, unboxed probably this weekend, probably on Saturday, and I'll get that recorded and set up throughout the weekend on that. What you see there is you see the actual printer is the bottom piece, is quite large. The build volume is 300 by 300 by 300. This is the standard ZR model. This isn't not the ZR Ultra that has the 4 tool heads. This is going to give us a little bit of a preview of what that's going to look like, because I believe, don't quote me on this, but I have to reach out to the Wonder Maker to confirm this, but I believe they're on the same frame for printers. So I'm hoping maybe at some point they'll offer an upgrade path for those of us that have the original ZR, like this one, to that 4 toolhead system. That'd be pretty cool. And then what you see in that smaller box up top there is the enclosure that we'll be putting on there. That box that's on top of that box is I'm not sure exactly what that is. I know it's part of the system that they sent with it. And then it's hard to see, but on top of the large ZR box, you see a tiny one there. That's the camera kit that we have to install in it. So this one seems like it's going to be more of the, I have to unbox it. And when I say I mean everyone who gets this printer. I have to unbox it and then install all these pieces together. And then we get to print. This won't be your typical out of the box. I'm in 20 minutes and plug and play and ready to go. So I'm actually looking forward to putting this together. So with that being covered, I'll get you back over here to the Bambu Sanctum. We are talking tonight about what we're looking forward to getting in 2026 and the kind of the criteria that we're looking at what we're going to evolve the studio in with. So tonight, for the pretzels that we have on deck, we've got Pop Daddy dill pickle pretzels. We had some of these a while back, and actually I want to really liking these. So I'm gonna pop open these again in a few minutes. We got a leftover ice water, peach nectarine, and then fruit punch flavors tonight. So let's get into tonight's episode now that we got the announcements out of the way. Oh, and Gizmo turned 9 months old this week, so that's another big announcement for us as here as the Glorious Geeks family. He's growing so fast. I'm so very excited to be in this dad journey with Abby and learning what that means in life for us here. So, without any further ado, uh, tonight's episode, I'm gonna kind of go structured but unstructured. Um, in 2026, there's a few criteria that I'm gonna be imposing on what printers I actually buy with studio funds or like our own maker funds here at the Glorious Geeks. And I'll let you know when we get those in the video. I'll say, hey, we bought these with our own money, or this is a review printer, this was provided for us, uh, so on and so forth. But the criteria that I'm going to be judging these printers on that we purchase, uh, we're going to be buying for ecosystem, quality, material, and time saved. Everything else to me is noise. And if you guys disagree, please feel free to drop it in the comments. Pretzel family and Replay family, drop it. Or Pretzel family, drop it in the chat, and Replay family, drop it in the comments. Havoc, I've been looking at the Chauncey Vehovorn clones. I haven't. I don't really know too much about those, so I'll have to look up and look those down. Look those up. I write that down. Chauncey Voron clones. Thank you for that. So those with those criteria established, I'm not breaking down every printer tonight. We did that. Not every printer, but we did a few printers last week, and then 2 weeks ago we did that. Initially, what tonight's live stream is kind of like to package it all in together as this 4-part stream. As a maker and as a hobbyist in this going towards business owner, there are things that I've learned that have really helped me clarify. Like, it's not just for fun, it's to make money and put food on the table too for our family. So I'm learning things as this maker space is evolving, and what's important for workflow and time saved and all these other criteria that I just introduced. The market is shifting, and uh, expectations, I don't think just for me is shifting. I think it's for everyone that's going to be in this hobby, whether you're new or you're experienced. I think not just the material saved, but the time that's been saved, especially with the snap maker that just came out, is like really changing things. So what I'm looking forward to buying right now, and this is what we're going to get into for the first segment for tonight's live stream. And I got some notes here that I'll be working off of. First is ecosystem and the stability. So as you can see, the best example of ecosystem, what I mean behind me, is you see all the Bambu equipment that we have here. I mean, earlier you saw on the Elegoo Centauri side, we have other printers too, but the Bambu printers that we have and the ecosystem behind it, I mean, you can really break that down into hardware and software and those kind of criteria. Um, and does it make life easier for printing when as things scale up? So, for example, our AMS units, I can load it and go. That's something as part of the ecosystem that Bambu has that is really convenient and quote unquote lazy printers. You can call me out for that. If there's a better way to say that, let me know. But I guess convenience printers like myself, it's really nice to have. Right now, that's something I feel a snap maker you want is missing. it is a little bit of a pain, time-wise, to load those filaments up and then program them and then go. As far as the ecosystem goes in the Bambu printers, I can drop the filament in. If it's Bambu filament, it just reads it and go. Or I can drop a bunch of filament in if it's like Sunloop, because I have a bunch of Sunloop. I really, really like their brand. Uh, and if you like Sunloop too, you can get a discount code by using code BeGlorious for that filament at checkout. But it's I can program it all at once instead of, okay, one machine, I've got I got to program the 4 filaments. If I'm doing multiple machines uh, with Bambu Studio, I can program those filaments. It just makes life easier and to maintain. Um, and then as far as software goes, does it make it easier to maintain multiple devices? Right now, I use Orca Slicer for the Snapmaker U1, and it works. It works great. Uh, but I don't have multiple of the machines, uh, and I don't know how that would scale. I mean, I'm sure I can just select the drop down like I do with if I want to switch between my Elegoo printer and my Snapmaker printer, and that is efficient. But in Bambu Studio, I have the A1, the A1 Mini, I have the 3P1Ss, uh, and I can switch between all of those, and it's all integrated in one thing. And Orca Slicer does that too. So the ecosystem is kind of there, but it's not all baked into one yet. As for instance, if I want to use the local ecosystem for the Elegoo printer, I would have to use, don't have to, but uh, the ecosystem that's baked with that printer is the Elegoo's version of Orca Slicer or Snapmaker's Snorka version of Orca Slicer. So the ecosystems for those machines, I don't feel are as flushed out. They're getting there. Uh, Elegoo is released, I think it's called Nextprint, where it's where everybody's putting their prints on there, so you can just select your file and print straight to Orca Slicer, which is nice. Bambu Studio's got that for Maker World and stuff like that. So that's going to be another important thing to look at as printers go. And then next, predictable workflow is something that is important to me. All machines, they're going to need maintenance at some point in time. And when I see maintenance, I mean maintenance like our videos that we've put out for our A1s, our Centauris, and our Snapmaker E1, just over time maintenance. Okay, I've used the printers for so many hours, I need to put grease and stuff on that like that. Learning that maintenance process is going to be important. And some printers have a more complex maintenance process than others would be. Um, it's not really for this price point, but the H2C, I'm interested, I don't have one, on what kind of maintenance that Vortex system is going to require. Uh, the Snapmaker E1 over time is going to have more maintenance for those tool heads in the back. It's not much more maintenance, but there is the grease you have to apply and keeping those connection points clean. They're rated at 250,000 swaps per head, which is great, but I don't think you'll get there if you don't do proper maintenance and learn that proper maintenance. And then next is print quality. And 5 years ago, that didn't matter as much. Uh, you could have layer lines that show more than others, and maybe not so much 5 years ago, but maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, when 3D printers were just coming to market. Like they weren't as noticeable. With how fine-tuned printers are getting now, uh, how much quality you can get out of the printer is going to matter. Uh, is print number 1 going to be as good as print number 26,000? That's going to matter. For my Bambu P1Ss, I've been printing with them for years now, and the print quality has gotten better and better over time with software refinements and firmware updates and proper maintenance. So are these other machines going to be able to compete with that? Same thing with the Snapmaker U1. When it first came out, I noticed that the travel speed was a little slower than one of the other printers or the other printers that I have. But since then, a firmware update came out, and now it's just as fast, if not faster. So print quality is going to matter. And then, of course, time saved. The old saying is time is money. And if we can save time over time, that just means that's more prints you can get off the same printer. So that is part of segment one that is important to talk about. What the qualifications are that we're going to be looking forward to buying these 3D printers when they come out this year, because 2026 is going to be the year of tool changers. Riley, I know you want a pretzel, but I don't think you want a pretzel. And that's what we've been covering these past few weeks, other than week 2 of these live streams, is what is the market changing into? It is going from the old tech, which is just a few years ago, was the multicolor printing when it was coming out. But we have the purge problem that we're tackling with these tool head changers and the nozzle swappers like the Vortex system. Uh, but what the U1 has really, really done to the market now is it's taken those tool head changers that used to be really expensive and forced them down a price point tier, in my opinion, that took it from the uh, really expensive price tier from the Prusa XL with the 5 tool heads that it's thousands and thousands of dollars down into the sub 1,000 range. And it's going to force all these other companies to really evaluate what they're doing at that price point, especially with how quality this machine is. If this printer, it saves me 30 minutes per day per machine, and I have 10 machines, how long until it pays for one of the machines with the time saved alone, not even including the filament? And with the criteria covered, chat family or replay family, and drop it in the chat and in the comments. What kind of criteria matters to you? Is there something that I didn't say that matters to you? Because uh, I don't operate on a super high manufacturer level. Do you have hundreds of machines? Do you have one machine? Do you just do this for print and play for fun for your families? Do you make toys for your kids? I mean, everyone is going to have a different requirement for buying 3D printers. And that's the beauty of this. Like, there's so many entry points into this hobby and what you can do with it. And that's why it's important. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the 3D printer ban and to advocate of, hey, let's keep this 3D printing creative and open and free. It's like the second live stream in a row that Dante's been sleeping on the printer behind me. If a machine doesn't cover those areas that I talked about earlier in a mostly covered way, like if we give 5 stars for each category, if it doesn't cover each category in 4 stars or 5 stars in most of them and 3 in another, it really wouldn't make sense for us here at the Glorious Geese to get that, because there's just so much into this printer farm type thing to consider. Now, there are going to be printers that are going to be sent to us to review, and that's I'm definitely going to review them, and I want to know what's out there. But as far as spending studio money on, it's going to be what is going to improve our workflow as far as these multicolor prints, because they're really popular right now. One of the things that we're printing right now that's popular is the, excuse me, Pokemon clickers from MakerIce 3D. Now, we just signed up for a commercial license with them a month and a half, 2 months ago, and they're really cool. So multicolor workflow is going to be a very heavy part of what we do here, especially with art fairs come up for this summer. There, that business side of it, other than YouTube and making these videos, is coming up. So we got to prepare for those. Now, with segment one covered, these categories, there are some of them that are going to become more relevant over time, and there's going to be some that become less relevant over time. And one of them that's becoming less relevant is purge waste. And you're probably thinking, Ken, what do you mean purge waste? That should be more relevant. Uh, I think with 2026, it's going to become less relevant. That answer is going to be answered. It has been once, twice if you count the H2C. That's not really this price point that I'm speaking on, the $700 to $1,000. That answer is going to become less relevant over time. We're going to get those tool changers that Flashforge has got one coming out. It's almost March, about a month and a half, I would think from now. I've seen it, I've heard of it. It's supposed to come out in April sometime. Uh, and other companies are going to come out with that. So it's going to become less relevant over time of, okay, it solves the purge waste. That's great. How does it solve the purge waste? And what does it mean for these other categories that we talked about, whether it's time saved or maintenance, ease of maintenance, the ecosystem. Okay, the U1 came out. What is the ecosystem for that printer going to mean? And what's really, really losing relevance, and we're already seeing it, and I talked about it last week, the single nozzle multicolor units, they're going to start going, not necessarily away, but the use case of those are going to change. So I can already see if I get more wasteless 3D printers in the studio here, I can see my use case for my P1Ss going from uh, multicolor printing to extended single color printing. If I got to print a big piece that is going to require a partial roll of filament and then an additional roll, the AMS unit is going to be handy there. But if I don't have to do the filament waste, I'm not going to on that machine, especially if I have other ones that are capable of printing wasteless and faster multicolor. So I see those, I don't want to call them antique models now, but the Generation 1 multicolor, let's call it, reference to Pokemon, Generation 1 multicolor printers, they're going to go take place of what the single colors, single nozzle, single color printers. That's what I envision for this. That that's where this market shift is changing all the dynamics. Uh, and that's important to take note. Your multicolor printers are not just going to become obsolete. They're just going to be repurposed in ways in your workflow, especially for us, that we never imagined a year and a half, 2 years ago, because of the purge problem. Um, and uh, time too. Like with the multicolor swaths, there's not just the purge problem. There's time issue there too. Especially with AMS units, we're going to see that multicolor on those units is not going to become as prevalent anymore between 2026 and probably really heavy in 2027. Uh, and we talked about that last week on what we think these other companies are going to do. It creates pressure in the environment. So, what do you all think is going to happen in 2026? Uh, Drop it in the comments or in the chat. What do you think are these tool changers going to change the environment, or are they just a fad? You know, maybe the crystal ball that I think I have is really just a plastic ball. So if you're just joining the live stream tonight, we are talking about what is going to be prevalent in 2026 and what is going to be pertinent to our studio. And I'm genuinely curious on what is going to be pertinent to you all, the viewers, on what categories are you going to consider when you buy a new 3D printer in 2026. These tool changes, especially the U1, are changing changing everything. We talked about the criteria that we're going to use for multicolor machines in 2026. I covered that we're looking at the ecosystem of the printer. That's going to become much more prevalent now. Now we have the purge problem tackled. What do these machines offer as part of the ecosystem? Quality, okay, is print number 1 going to be the same as print number 2026? And material and time saved. Material saved is actually going to become less and less prevalent as these tool changers come out. Okay, it's a tool changer, it's here, so are some other ones. What does it do differently that makes things, that improves on this other tool changer? And that side-by-side comparison. And before I move forward, what I'm excited for more than anything else is the innovation that is coming to this space. We see it with the U1. We saw it with the Ellen Day 5255. Hi, how's it going? Welcome to the live stream. We're talking tonight about what we're going to think we're going to buy in 2026 and what criteria we're getting into. These tool changers are going to have so much innovation come in, and what other companies are going to answer with, and how it's just going to be a back and forth in the environment. And it's just going to be better for the consumer, whether you're a 3D print farm like we are. I wouldn't say a giant farm, but we're a mini farm. But also for the standard hobbyist. What is that going to mean for the standard hobbyist? Are these tool changers going to be pushed down to an affordable point to where a hobbyist that wants to do multicolor is going to uh, be able to afford to get these? Have I heard of the Pro Forge 5 from the UK? No, I have not. Can you tell me a little bit about it? And I'll write that down to look up after the live stream too. I know I'm looking for the Creator 5 Pro. Looking forward to that from FlashForge. That has come across my radar, but I have not heard of ProForge. These new printers that are coming out, they're really going to have to push the innovation and these other criteria that we're talking about: ecosystem, time saved, material saved, uh, and maintenance flow and workflow. How that all comes together and what it really, they're going to have to start being the Apples of the 3D printing world, or the Googles of the 3D printing world, making that user experience, because the innovation is just being pushed so well. And then of course you have companies that do the cloning. And I don't mean genetic cloning, I mean they take what another company's done and improve upon it, quote unquote, put a new skin on it, maybe tweak a couple features, and then release their own version of that. A couple of printers have come out recently. We covered those in another live stream. I won't go over that, but you'll see that as well too. Companies that are jumping into the market just to get a portion of the market. It's a neat looking multi-head printer. They do not seem to be engaging the YouTube community for reviewing. Uh, I've seen a couple of the things like that. One of the printers that we covered last week and 3 weeks ago, uh, they're not really engaging the YouTube community yet for like reviews and behind the scenes, and the Atom Form palette. They haven't, as far as I'm aware of. I'm a small creator, so I don't really know for sure, but I haven't really seen any units pushed out to them yet. Or CoPrint, which is the printer that's coming out, supposedly coming out, because it's not out yet. that's got like the A1 frame, but in a bigger frame. It's 300 by 300, but it's got multi-tool hoods on that. So it's open environment for that. I don't really see them pushing to creators just yet. Uh, I think FlashForge has gotten their machines out to creators behind the scenes. I don't know that for certain. I don't have one. I promise. I don't have one. I've it would be nice to see another tool changer here in the studio to review. But and when it does come out, I will do everything I possibly can to get one to compare side by side to the U1 because those tool changers I think are where it's at, and I'll get to that a little bit in the live stream. I think there's more that can be gotten out of these units that are tool changers. Uh, I tried the co-print KCM system from Ender 5 Max and it bricked it. I've heard somebody else say that it happened. Uh, I haven't tried that. I haven't Neptune 4 Pro that I could probably try that out on. And maybe that'll be like a YouTube video project that I might try at some point. Um, but with the things that are plug and play now, I like everything behind me is pretty much plug and play for multicolor. I'm not sure that ecosystem is gonna be that's for the tinkerer ecosystem versus the convenience hobbyists that is out there or that are out there. Um, and that is a fear of mine. Uh, right now, my Neptune 4 Pro is still usable. I don't really use it, but it's still usable. And if I brick it, that means I gotta replace a bunch of things on it. So sorry that that happened to you. That's rough. I'm hoping that the co-print printer that they're putting out is gonna be legit, and it's a big build plate, 300 by 300. At the very least, it can be multicolor for 4 colors, uh, and it can really hone in on PLA and PETG. Uh, uh, and I want to get to something that I think is coming out of that printer well, and it's I think something that's coming to this one, but I'll get to that a little bit in the live stream. Innovations that I think could be made further. It is far from plug and yes, yes, those types of printers are very far from plug and play. I remember the days of having to take the piece of paper and manually leveling the bed. Oh, so glad most of those days are behind us. Uh, so those pain points, and that's just another example of the innovation that comes over time to the 3D printing. They take our pain points, these companies, and they make them friendlier and easier to handle. And that's how they get, you know, market share. Um, but we covered segment one, and segment two is really about the category that's really losing its relevance quietly. And like I said, it's it's not what you expect it to be. Uh, it's that material and time savings category that's going to lose its prevalence over time as more of these tool changers come out. Uh, it's it's the hype on the Snapmaker U1 is that the fact that it saves so much material and so much time on multicolor printing, it's absurd from what we're used to. Over time, that is going to be we're going to get used to that. 2026, maybe not so much. We'll be like, okay, this saves too much time too, in comparison to these other generations. But as we move into late 2026 into 2027, we're really going to start uh, building up that callus, I guess is the best way to describe it that I can think of right now, as we get used to that being an expectation instead of a surprise. My Neptune 4 Max is still paper level, but it still works. Yes, I had a Neptune 4 Max and I love that machine. The only thing I didn't love about that machine is sometimes the heat on the bed, uh, you you really had I was this is my experience. I really had to preheat my bed and then do my leveling based off the preheated bed because of how big that bill plate was. Otherwise, it wouldn't. I couldn't get it leveled just properly. Uh, but another category that's becoming more relevant, and this is where I'm going to get into those innovations that I think could be brought to these new machines, uh, is the ecosystem. The ecosystem of these machines can be improved. The Snapmaker U1, I've done a couple of videos on it. You can check those out on what I really like about it and what it's done for the uh, 3D printing hobbyist community and the print farm community and so on and so forth. But where I think it can be improved on, and I think it's already in development. I can't prove it. I don't have any contacts at Snapmaker, but I think what they're gonna do is take what Bambu has done with their material systems and put it on the Snapmaker U1. Excuse me. And if they don't, I'll be surprised. And I'll be really surprised if Bambu doesn't take what Snapmaker has done with the toolheads and put it on their systems with their AMS units. Because I think a marriage of the systems is where that ecosystem is really going to be at. Why I think it's coming to the Snapmaker U1. Snapmaker U1 has a 6-pin port on it and also a 4-pin port, which if you own a Bambu machine, you know both of those are required for the AMS units as accessories. If we could get a machine that has an AMS unit for each toolhead, and I don't got to load it through these things, that's going to make it more convenient and further expand the ecosystem for me. And that would make me even more prone to sink some cash into that ecosystem if that were to be developed. Same thing in reverse for Bambu. And this is where uh, segment 3 is really going to come into play. The answers that these companies are going to have and how they're going to distinguish themselves from the other market competitors. The Snapmaker U1 has totally created pressure in the hobbyist 3D printing environment. We've seen it with the Kickstarter. I don't know if it's still this way, but it was the most funded 3D printer Kickstarter ever. It was like 2 point something million. So that was wild. And these other companies, they're going to notice that. And they're just now getting caught up on their pre-orders for the machines. If you pre-order it now, you'll get it sometime in March, which is excellent. It's good to see. I don't think these other companies are just going to sit idly by. FlashForge, as I was speaking of earlier, that pressure has created them to put development into the Creator 5 and Creator 5 Pro. That's what it's being called as of this moment, I think, according to their wiki page that is there but not there. I covered that last week's live stream. They're tackling that. Wonder Maker is putting out the ZR Ultra and the ZR Ultra S for the enclosed version of the 4-toolhead system. Uh, they shifted the market with the U1. Now, does Snapmaker stay ahead? And then silence is the biggest answer of all. Does that mean these companies, let me check and make sure I'm on track here with my notes. Does it mean that they're prepared to adjust? Are they adjusting their R&D teams to take what is successful in the maker environment and improve upon that with what they have? I would totally super be happy if Bambu came out with an affordable price point tool changer. I say affordable price point because the H2C is above my price point. It might not be for above everybody's price point, but it doesn't compete with price with the Snapmaker U1. I'm sorry, that's I will plant my flag on that one. You can buy almost 2.5 of the Snapmaker U1s for what you can get at H2C. Now, I'm not saying that the H2C doesn't do great things. You can do things on the H2C that you definitely can't do on the Snapmaker U1. But if they were to take what they did on the the H2C, and bring it to an affordable price point for the sub 1,000 categories of printers, X2C, P2C, Vortec in the P2C, Vortec in the X2C, or if it's a tool changer, that's okay too. But they need to make it to work with an AMS unit. And they need to make sure that when they do that, there's a way to do it with time savings too. Don't just bring it with the AMS unit and for each tool head. Make sure that the AMS unit can go to the tool head, and that tool head is just like with the U1 is already preheating in anticipation to start working next. That is going to be where Bambu can push the market because that feature set is not available on the Snapmaker U1. Bambu, if you're listening, I want first dibs on a machine for this idea if you don't already have it in development. I'm just kidding, but it would be nice. But that's what I see in this market is doing, and what the pressure could create, and what maybe this silence from Bambu is really all about. I maybe they're backwards engineering the Snapmaker U1. Maybe they have their own thing in development, but that pressure has created. Uh, are they unprepared to handle this, or are they working on something? That uncertainty has got to be making these other companies in the atmosphere of 3D printing a little nervous. And right now, the I would speculate. This is speculation on this point right here that the Bambu community is guessing. I'm guessing on what they're bringing next, uh, and I'm going to say on their track record, it's about every 6 months that they release something. Is their next release? Their last one was in November slash early December, the H2C slash P2S. They were both right around the same time. Is it going to be an answer to this market? Or is it going to be another machine that is last generation? I think it's going to be something big. I think it's going to be this price point for multicolor wasteless printing. Uh, I hope they can answer the time color change factor in that as well. And if they answer that with that release, it is going to force the entire market to shift because then you have the biggest player in the 3D printing world outside of Creality, and I'm going to touch on Creality here in a second, that pushes technology. And on Creality's point, there is rumor that Creality is also working on a tool changer. So that just tells me that there is so much pressure on these 3D printing companies to push out innovation. And that's a great thing for you and I as consumers of these products. And it's just going to further drive the price down. Snapmaker has said that after pre-orders, this price point is going to go up to, I think, $9.99. With all this innovation coming out, does it make them backtrack a little bit on that? Alan Day, I saw a YouTuber hint that they may upgrade the X series, but that makes no sense. Uh, you know, I don't know. I don't know on that. The X series has disappeared. I mean, they don't sell the printers anymore. You can still get parts for it. Uh, I don't know what their answer is going to be, but the X has disappeared. Uh, I did also see, I don't remember who it's by, but I did also see that video. Uh, some of it made sense, some of it left some questions. And I think that's really where we're all at as far as the uh, Bambu community is considering. Uh, I, I I don't want to get the H2C because for the amount of money that I can spend on an H2C, I can get a couple of snap makers. Yeah, it's a little bit troublesome. I can only print 4 colors, but I've in the last 2 months I have printed something with 5 colors, I think 3 times. So 4 colors usually does the job for me. Black and white are usually the two main colors. Yeah. So 7 colors is great with the H2C. I mean, you can do some amazing things, and if I could afford one of those machines, that'd be great. But I would want to say that most of the hobbyist community, which is a large portion of the community, I can't say it's the biggest portion, but I know it's a large portion, are in this range of the $700, or I would even say $500 to $1,000 price point. So that's going to matter. That's going to be a big market share that they would be giving up if they don't have an answer in the next, I don't know, 4 or 5 months at the most. So I want to see the innovation. We have it with the U1. Now we need to see that expanded ecosystem. That how does it make my work environment more friendly? How does it make it save me time? How does it make it save me filament waste? How does it save me time with maintenance? How does it save me maintenance costs? I can tell you right now, I've run the Snapmaker machine nonstop since I got it in early January, like January 3rd or something like that. And it has not skipped a beat. I haven't had any toolhead issues. I say that and I'm scared now, but I haven't had any toolhead issues. Those pogo pins are doing just fine. And it is wild on how quality this machine is. So that's the Bambu experience that I have come to know with my P1Ss and my A1 and my A1 Mini. I currently have to swap a nozzle on him. That's why he's not on right now. But that's the quality I've learned to expect. And a plus on that is there's no longer a purge chute on this, so I don't have to worry about my purge chute clogging and bending a nozzle or things like that. I covered that in our last video. It it's saving maintenance costs over time. How many nozzles am I gonna not bend with a clogged purge chute? I've had happened to me like 6 times over the last uh, probably year. So I mean, it's not a whole lot of cost, but it is costs that add up. I've actually looked at getting the purge chute deflector, or not deflector, defender from BQ to see if that eliminates that problem on the P1Ss. But with this innovation, when these P1Ss move down to the single color extended printing, that won't purge chute issue won't matter as much because you're not using the purge chute as much. So uh, again, that silence is going to create speculation, and that speculation creates uncertainty, and it just further adds to the pressure in this environment. So what do you guys think? What are you looking forward to getting for your workflows or for your hobby in 2026? We're about 50 minutes, an hour into the live stream, and I'll recap this stuff in a minute for those of us that are just joining the live stream or the replay family for when this live stream goes on replay. But what are you thinking of getting in 2026? What are you looking forward to? Are you the tinkerer type for 3D printers? Do you enjoy upgrading your printer over time, or do you really enjoy that plug and play experience that the ecosystem really matters to you? I fall into that latter half because the ecosystem part really matters to me. That's why with Bambu Studio, I can outside the Snapmaker U1, which needs to move over to the other side of the studio when I get another power station for when the power goes out. Uh, I can program this whole side of the studio from the computer without having to do much other than put filament in the machine. If I load all the filament up first, I can sit at the computer, program it, and away it goes. I can kind of do the same thing with all my non-Bambu Studio stuff for Orca Slicer, but it's not really the same experience. It's not as fluid as I would say. And I can definitely say that without the AMS units, it's a much more laborsome task to load those filaments up into the machine. Centauri Carbon 1s, gotta load that filament manually all the way into the machine. I don't have a Centauri Carbon 2. I'm not really planning on getting one. If LB wants to send a review unit, I'll review it, but I'm not planning on getting one just because this is where we're at versus, these non-tool changer multicolor printers. Uh, Alan, I've gotten very gun shy of anyone but Bambu Lab stuff. Creality has burnt me. Elugu is just not FDM fun. The rest are unknowns. I lean that way too. I don't have any Creality machines. They put out a lot of machines, and it seems like every time they put out a machine, something changes, and that's not a bad thing, but it makes it hard to find an ecosystem that you can expand upon. Uh, as far as I am aware of, I haven't found an experience for a machine that's like Bambu. I'm hoping Snapmaker can fill that space with some sort of ecosystem, as they have got a great flagship now with the U1. Um, I'm calling it their flagship. I don't know if they actually do, but it's definitely got to be one of their best selling, if not the best selling printers they have. And now, do they develop an ecosystem behind it? That top hat that's coming out, I'm glad I kept my pre-order for that for the Kickstarter, because I think that's really, really going to have a good effect on the machine. I can already tell you, I actually just the other day, the first print fails I've had on this machine in quite a while, since like the, I don't know, first 3 days of it. It was a print that barely contacted the bed, and it is in PET G. I noticed that uh, when I moved it over to the Bambu P1S, which is enclosed, I didn't have that issue. So some sort of ambient, whether it's a breeze or something, is causing that cooling effect too fast on the PET G. I'm sure I can slow the fans down and stuff, but just moving it into that enclosed space fixed it without having to really think about it too much. Snapmaker only has 2 printers, so they've got something here, and don't touch it. Like don't put out a U2. Build an ecosystem around this printer. Uh, Snapmaker, if you're listening, I don't know if you are. I'm a small channel, but uh, David Walte, welcome to the live stream. Tool changer or nozzle changer are where it's at. Caveat: nozzle changer with an AMS needs 2 PFE to use for the nozzle changer, so the AMS doesn't hold you up. You are absolutely correct, David. I covered that just a little bit earlier. That time difference is going to make a difference. That's time is money, is the old saying. And when Bambu provides their answer to what Snapmaker has pushed as the innovation, that is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting that they have their short answer with the H2C, which is not really an answer because it's not that price point. It's far above it in my perspective. But whatever they produce next, hopefully answers the purgeless waste and the time for printing. Because I've seen some of the other content creators out there that have an H2C, and they've stated that the time aspect is definitely still in play, because there is no like filament waiting to be pushed in as the other one gets retracted out. Uh, Kyle, welcome to the live stream. We're talking about what new innovations are happening and what we're looking forward to getting as a 3D printer in 2026. To recap for the live stream, for all those of you that are just joining, the criteria that I am setting for ourselves here at the studio, I'm going to care about ecosystem, quality, material saved, and time saved when it comes to getting our next 3D printer that's not provided as a reviewing unit. Shout out to you, David. I'll show you real quick. We did this week, that you just joined on the live stream, we did this week get our Wonder Maker ZR in. This is the ZR, not the ZR Ultra that has the tool heads. They don't have any review units out on that. I did inquire about that. I did inquire about if there's an upgrade path on the ZR Ultra, or from the ZR to ZR Ultra. And they don't have an answer for that right now. I'm not sure if it's on the same frame. I want to find that out. I think it's on the same frame, but I don't know for sure. But that did arrive this week, so we'll be getting that unboxed hopefully this weekend and recorded and put out to you all. Back on over here. But I agree. Whatever Bambu's response to this tool changer at an affordable price point, $1,000, sub $1,000, is going to be important. They've been silent for the better part of 4 months. I haven't heard anything since the H2C/P2S came out. I think it's got to be in the P2 frame, if I had to guess. Bambu got a speed after the X1. I would look at my Prusa M3 and it was 12 hours versus 3. Then multicolor put it right back at 12 hours. Yep. The speed is going to be a major player when it comes to these printers. I was shocked when I took, actually I can show you guys. I was printing this, and this was what I was talking about earlier on the issue that I saw on the U1. This tap to pay wand, I got the commercial license for this. Uh, it's kind of a neat project that somebody asked me to do, but this we can't really see it on camera right now, but the points of the star barely contact the build plate. I mean, maybe millimeters contact each side. Uh, and when I was printing it on the U1, because it's an open enclosure or an open environment printer, still because we don't have the top hat, the PETG was cooling down too quickly. So the bottom of the star will lift up and then give me these lifting lines in this print. I moved this over to the P1S. I didn't change any settings other than the fact, I had to switch it from Orca Slicer to Bambu Studio to do it. But it's good to see you, Kyle. Uh, it really, I didn't change anything, and it didn't lift off the build plate. I have a BQ build plate on the Snapmaker. I have a BQ build plate in the P1S, so that wasn't the only thing I could think of. It was the environment, and the temperature is much more regulated inside the enclosed, and it wasn't lifting. So that one, when the top hat comes on that, I think this issue will be solved. But right now, that is one print that I cannot print on the U1 that I have to print on the P1S. And these things are really cool. If you slide your credit card in there and you put this on there and you can tap it on a credit card reader. But that was something I learned this week with the U1. It has a hard time with temperature regulation, and which makes sense for ABS and stuff. I automatically assumed that, but I didn't think it would trickle into PETG. But because of how little space is on that build plate, even with supports that I had on here, it really didn't matter. So that was an interesting lesson that I learned this week. So uh, it was just an example of how things can be improved. Now, I don't think Bambu is going to be the only one with the ecosystem as good as they have for long. Someone is going to come along, whether it's Creality or it's Anycubic, or someone is going to come along, and because there's other companies out there that have AMS type units that can do that with the tool changer. Someone is going to take the tool changer and they're going to marry it with an AMS in an efficient way. Whoever does it first is probably going to get the larger market share, if I had to guess. And I think that's probably right along the lines that you're thinking too, David. If you're just joining the live stream, tonight we are covering the 2026 criteria of what we're looking forward to buying for 3D printing as far as machines / ecosystem. The Snapmaker U1, fantastic printer. I wish I would have backed the double unit, because I think it was that price point was like you get two of them for like $600 a piece or something like that as an early bird backer. But I was like, well, what if the printer doesn't come out or comes out and it doesn't work as well as I would hope it would? Hindsight's 2020 or 2026. But fantastic printer. There's only like one or two things, as you see here, that I can't print, or that I can print on another printer that I can't print on there. It prints everything that I need. It's way more efficient than printing these little minis that I print for art fairs and to sell to kids and their parents here in Ludington, Michigan. It's way more efficient with time and color than the P1S's. I don't have multiple machines on this, so I still have to do some of them on here, but I try to eliminate or limit the colors to like 3 colors on these ones and use the max 4 on here. David, at least Snapmaker pushed the envelope. We will see how others respond. Again, that's what this episode is all about. That pressure that Snapmaker has created in this environment. And our upcoming long form video is going to really take what we've done in these live streams and just shrink it down into digestible, short, long form. We're going to take the printers and like what we think is going to be relevant in 2026, and then also ecosystem question mark. Who's going to build the ecosystem around that tool changer first? Who is going to do it first? And when they do it, if it's successful, that will be a large market share they will capture. Uh, so I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know who it's going to be. I know there are players in the environment that have one portion that don't have the other portion, and vice versa. So I don't think it's going to be long for an answer. I'm excited to see the FlashForge Creator 5 Pro and Creator 5 come out sometime in April. Is what it's expected to be. That information is not from inside sources. That's from other creators that I watch out there. I think it's the first layer. He put that out in his video. Shout out to him. But that's information that is out there now. I've seen the wiki page, but not seen the wiki page. You can Google it and you can see the picture of the Creator 5 Pro, but the FlashForge has still got it locked behind whatever wall they got put up there. You see the image of whatever image is behind that wall through Google's uh, whatever they have set up. Uh, so that's another tool changer come out. They're parking all the tool heads on the right side, which is a different aspect on that. It makes me wonder what's going to happen there. But someone is going to build an ecosystem around these guys, and when they do, you're going to hear a lot more noise, like you did with the U1. When it's, and even right now, the U1 is a hot topic on our channel and other channels out there. I'm gonna say that the U1 videos are what pushed us over that monetization edge. I didn't expect that. We recently got to the first tier of monetization, and we applied for that for YouTube, but because of the amount of pressure that they put in the environment, it's trickled to our channel, and that's I guess side effect of what happened. I'm happy about it, but that just tells me how much desire consumers have for innovative tech like this. So it's probably going to happen again, like I said earlier, when someone puts an ecosystem around one of these tool changers and makes it super plug and play. I can drop my filament in the AMS unit that goes to the toolhead, and I don't have to think about it. That's going to change things. So that's what I'm looking forward to buying in 2026. I think fully it's going to happen in 2026. Maybe end of Q2, beginning of Q3, at the very least, or at the very latest, it'll be Q1 of 2027. Now, I think what Elegoo may be developing behind the scenes, they've got to be putting out a tool changer. If they don't, I would be surprised. They already have the frame for it. They already have the multicolored canvas system for it, and it looks very much similar to the Flash 85 FlashForge 85X, who FlashForge is putting out a tool changer. So I don't think Elegoo will be trailing far behind. Do they have an AMS system in development? I think they did at one point. Do they now? I don't know. I don't expect them to be the one to put that ecosystem out in play with their printer when they release it. But hey, maybe they will. Someone will do it, and they'll get a lot of money for it. Just look at, like I said, Snapmaker, when they released their Kickstarter, most funded Kickstarter ever. I don't know if that's true today still, but I'm pretty sure it is. Now, here's where I want to open it up for Print and Pretzels. We're past the halfway point in the live stream. For you all, what issues have you run in with your 3D printers? What causes you pain points in your 3D printers that you really wish were solved? Because that's the name of the game for these companies. How can I make it less painful for our consumers? If they can get it right, they make money. If they don't get it right, they cause more pain. For me, one of my pain points for my P1Ss is the lack of quick change nozzle. I miss that when I work on my A1 and A1 Mini. That's so nice to have. I dread changing a nozzle on the P1S because I got to take out screws. And it takes time, and it adds up over time. The 2 screws that are in there, sure, and unplugging, but when you have 3 of them, it adds up. Especially if you want to switch from point 4 to point 6 and then back to point 4. Technically, that's 2 nozzle swaps. I play with point 6, and I use that for glow filament. I use that for wood filament. I haven't done much marble printing, but I would use that for that too. Uh, Alan, I wish that my P1Ss were not getting harder and harder to keep running. Uh, Alan, I got a question for you. Are they harder and harder to keep running, or are the other machines coming out easier and easier to keep running? I think and that's what I'm seeing too. Like I feel the same. I feel that same vibe. My P1Ss are harder and harder to keep running, but is it that the rest of the machines are easier and easier to keep running? Uh, is that what's going on? Uh, David, more modular printers, easily swap out parts. Alan, shut your mouth. Yeah, I, I feel that same vibe. Just shut your mouth. It's the ecosystem around us is evolving to be easier, and we're like, oh, this P1S that we bought 2 years ago, it was the creme de la creme, but now it's like, okay, man, I gotta change out that nozzle. I gotta upgrade this extruder. Oh, the pain. um, David, more modular printers, easily swapped out parts. Yeah, the convenience is coming for us. Uh, and it's not just the name of the game in 3D printing, it's everything. I mean, look at AI. What happened with that? Whether you're on the fence for AI or you're on the opposite side of the fence and you think it's going to be the end of the world. The reason why it's so popular is because it makes life convenient. And humans are animals of convenience, uh, for the most part. I can't speak for everyone, but I know I am. Uh, if it can make it more convenient and save time for me in other aspects of my life, I am definitely going to look at utilizing it. If it can create more time for me to spend time with my family, that is important to me. I will utilize a tool to create more time for me in other aspects of my life. If I can use a 3D printer that's not a P1S and maybe a P2S, and have that quick swap out nozzle. Do I spend 5 minutes less a day changing out nozzles, and I get to spend 5 more minutes with with Gizmo? I almost said his name on a live stream, but yeah, spend more time with what's important in my life, and that's what these conveniences you should really look at them for. Where can I save myself time to allocate it somewhere where it's needed even more? Um, but that was a funny response, Alan. David Walton, no lengthy repairs by unscrewing everything. Yeah, if I get a repair, uh, I think I have, knock on wood, I haven't had to yet, but I think that's where my main concern was with the U1 when it first came out. How much of a pain in the butt is it going to be to change out one of these tool heads when something goes wrong? But I don't remember how much they are right now off the top of my head, but it's affordable from what I can remember to switch one out, and it's not too much of a pain. After putting them in, when I put the machine together, it's not that much of a pain at all. A couple of screws and new tool head. That's pretty convenient. I would have thought that would have been much more of a pain. Uh, I am in complete agreement on those, uh, and I think if a company can come out, get the ecosystem down, get that convenience for 3D printing out, it's gonna change the game. And I said it a few weeks ago on the live stream. We're gonna start seeing 3D printers in every home on the block. We're gonna start printing our own shoes. Some people already do. It's gonna be click and play. And maybe at some point in the future with our magical crystal ball, I really need to get a crystal ball for 3D printing. I don't have a resin. I do have a resin printer, but I hate resin. Uh, it, it we're going to see maybe a field develop of 3D printer maintenance techs. Or maybe a robot does that. I don't know. But where they come into your house and they fix your 3D printer and away they go. Because that's how accessible these machines are going to become. David, they're just over 60 bucks. If my extruder gets stuck, swap the tool head and deal with the broken tool head after. Yes, it keeps you going. $60 keeps you going, and then now you can tinker it, and figure out what's clogging the extruder. I have some extruder pieces over here that I backed. They're hardened steel ones, but I wanted to get the hardened steel because eventually I'm gonna get enough courage up to print with glow filament on this machine. Yeah, and I say that with a grain of salt because I'm not sure how, with the abrasiveness of that curve for those tool heads, uh, it will be to print with that. But I'm contemplating printing spool holders for the top to mount on a SCADAS above it to take the PTFE tubes off and directly feed it into. I think I've seen that same thing for TPU. I think that was put out by SnapMaker. So eventually I'll get to doing that and testing that out, and then sharing it with the community. Just got to get the courage up for that, and time. Time is a big thing. But convenience is the name of the game. And the sooner one of these companies figures it out, and the happier all of us hobbyists will be. Um, if I can click plug and play and spend time with my family, that's what's important. If I can run a 3D print shop and still allocate a majority of my time to my family, that's important. Uh, Alan, printing glow-in-the-dark filament on the SnapMaker U1 poses a significant danger of severe abrasion on the strontium aluminate particles. That's why I got the hardened steel extruders to upgrade to. Um, are you specifically referring to a different part other than the extruder? Are you referring to the gear mechanisms? I'm not sure I'm tracking on that one, Alan. I definitely want to track though, because I don't want to do anything irreversible to my machine, because it has been a workhorse for this studio. Bradley, do you enjoy that heat coming off the computer? If you're just joining the live stream, we've covered what printers in a previous live stream that are coming to market. It's something that, and then the next live stream we covered what the 3D printer ban is going to shape the market one way or another, whether it's going to allow us to continue to enjoy and bring joy to others in this market, or if it's going to constrict that joy with the legislation coming up. And then the third live stream was about exactly what machines are coming in 2026. And then tonight is about what criteria we're going to have to look at these machines as they come out and whether they're worth our hard-earned dollars or not. The article says, Alan says, the article says something for all the parts. I'll have to check that out. Is it? I'm assuming that's on the SnapMaker website. Uh, I'm glad I've been hesitant on that because I want to keep this thing up and running for a long time. And something that I thought of the other day when I was looking at the SnapMaker versus all the other printers that are behind me, if I can get rid of the purge bins that are underneath here, that's just that many more printers I can have, right? I can put them underneath there too. Uh, if I can stack printers on top of printers, that's fantastic. That's just, Alan, yes, okay, so it is on the SnapMaker site. Thank you, I appreciate that. Uh, just more space that's provided for expandability. Uh, and for possible other systems in the same ecosystem. Because right now, these waste bins, I don't just use it for purge. Like when I open filament bags go in there, the desiccant bags go into there. They're really a collect all, but all the purge goes in there too. I probably change them out once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, and about 40% of it's purge waste, just because all the printing that I do. Ideally, for us here at the studio, I'm hoping that Bambu comes out with the answer, just because I have so much equipment in their ecosystem already. If they don't, it's okay. Like we can adjust, but I've lost count how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 AMS units, not counting the AMS Lite. 9 AMS units I have for the Bambu ecosystem, and if I can use that in iteration uh, for the next machine, that'd be awesome. Uh, our AMS Gen 1s are starting to get a little old, so I think I don't think I know, I'm gonna have to start replacing rollers, and there's gonna be the filament drive that is in that hub. It's gonna need to be replaced at some point. I think our oldest one is got to be close to 3 years old now, but that's just a test to how long they could run. It's crazy. Now, I probably could have run them longer than that if I hadn't started printing glow filament in them. It really wore down those inlets. So that's the part that I'm going to have to replace because once they get so worn down, they get a filament cut path that adds to resistance and it'll start throwing error codes on your AMS unit. Alan, I hate that it will cost $779 USD to upgrade my H2D to an H2C. Yeah, Alan, that 779, you know what that gets you? It gets you a U1. I feel that pain. That's why I if I could afford an H2C and not sweat it, whew, I would totally get an H2C. But that price point is 2.5 U1s. Uh, it's crazy. Um, if To me, it just doesn't make logistical sense. If I can have 3 machines printing 4 colors versus 1 machine with a bigger build volume, of course, printing 7 colors, mm, mathematically, the 3 machines should win, right? Uh, I think that math is mathing. Bambu has to have an answer. They just do. I don't know what kind of an answer it's going to be. Personally, I think it's going to be a tool changer. Don't be surprised if they don't necessarily not backtrack on the Vortec, but they keep that at the higher end system and they release a tool changer that is in the P series frame that's just a little bit bulkier depth wise. It'll keep the 256 by 256 by 256, but it's going to add to the space that sticks out, which I'm okay with because I've got space that I can deal with. But I think that's what they're going to do. Now, it would make sense to me, and feel free, Pretzel family and Replay family, to drop it in the chat and comments. I personally think though their tool changers are going to feed from the side. I don't know how they're going to do it per se, but that seems what they're stuck on with the AMS units. They feed from the side. If I can see them feeding from the side and then maybe being rerouted, I don't know. There's going to be a way that they make too much money on the AMS units to abandon those. And I would be very sad if they abandoned those because I really enjoy the swappability of filament rolls into the drop and play. But they're going to definitely, if they don't do a tool changer, I will be really, really surprised. I don't think there's enough room in the P2S frame to put a Vortec, maybe slightly, but I think you are going to lose the build volume. So what they answer with that is going to be the telltale. And I will definitely get that machine. I actually have financial pieces set aside to get what they have come out next. because I want to review it in response to this machine. It's important uh, because it's the answer that they provide. I hope. Now, if they come out with something that's completely unrelated, I will have a raised eyebrow and some question marks. Um, Chat family, what do you think they're going to put out next? Tool changer or actually, I'll put that as a poll here before I forget. I forgot I can do this. Bambu's next answer, tool changer or nozzle changer? And I probably will spell tool changer wrong. I almost put uh, troll changer. $500 to 1K price point. Make sure I put that in there. All right, that poll's out there for you guys to check out. Bambu's next answer, tool changer or nozzle swapper, $500 to 1K price point. Let's see what you guys think. I personally think it's going to be tool changer. Looks like so far you guys do too. It's I just don't think they have the space for the nozzle swapper. The Vortex and the H2C takes up a lot of room on that. If you're looking at the machine, I believe it's the right-hand side. If you're behind the machine, it's on the left-hand side. It just doesn't have the space in these smaller units that are the budget-friendly units to do that. They'll do something. Tool changer, to me, makes sense with the AMS unit. Figure it out. You guys have an R&D department. You can figure it out and provide it to us. And then you get to keep your ecosystem that's in place, and it makes a lot of people happy. Alan, I think Bambu should make a 3D UV printer. 100%. Shout out to the first layer. He put out a video 2 weeks ago now, and he's got some sources, or not sources per se, that by the end of this year in 2026, Bambu has a resin printer, UV printer, in development. Now, what does that mean for us? I am personally excited about it. Let's see if I can minimize this poll here in my chat so I can see what you guys are saying. I personally think that means for us, it's going to take the pain out of dealing with the resin. I absolutely hate dealing with the resin, the mess it creates, the fumes it creates, everything about it. I think it's still the current iteration of the resin printers from Elegoo, like the Mars 5 Ultra or something like that. It was their latest one. I got it last year or the year before. And I haven't taken it out of the plastic yet, just because I know how messy resin is, and I just really don't look forward to it. Uh, I don't expect anything less from Bambu for whatever they put out. I think it'll be a unit that maybe, I don't know, I think it'll be a unit that is resin, wash, and cure, maybe all in one system. Similar to their attempt at the H2CDS with the laser engraver and cutter inside of it. I think they're going to try to combine it. I know the first layer said and shout out to him. He said that they're hiring resin experts in their R&D department. I don't have that as firsthand knowledge, so I'm relying on another creator for that information, but it is out there. So that is something that is out there. So it looks like you guys, the poll's ended. The tool changers and what you think is going to happen, that'll be awesome. I'd be super excited on that. Uh, oh, Alan, you mean like the Eufy make? I haven't really looked into the Eufy make too much. I know it came out, um, but I haven't really done any in-depth research on that. I'll have to look into that for next live stream so I can have more experience on that. I know it's like, wasn't it for multicolor UV printing? Actually, let me just look real quick. Google's a thing. I saw it on a Kickstarter. Hmm. Okay, I see what you're talking about. That's pretty cool. The world's first personal 3D texture UV printer. I'll share my screen so you guys can see this. And chat family and replay family, this is the part of the live stream that I open it up to any and all questions. Back half of it. So screen capture. So the world's first personal 3D texture UV printer. Some of the stuff looks pretty cool. Um, Neat little video. 3D textures. So they took what an inkjet printer does and 3Dified it with UV resin. Interesting. Uh, this gives me an idea where I think this could go. I have an idea where I think this technology might go. Once we get off of screen share, I'll talk to you about it. Just checking out what this thing's all about. I'm a videos guy. So it looks like it creates it in there. Rotary printing. Okay, so you print on like cups and things. That's cool. It's another way technology is pushing the market. Okay, so that's how it detects the prints and stuff. Cleans itself. That's nice. Auto leveling for rotary printing. Give you some cost breakdowns. This is cool. I'm gonna switch you guys back to studio cam here. Uh, Alan, but it's still just 3D printer resin. Yes. So where I think this technology could go, and again, this crystal ball can talking. So they're creating these. This is just from the first glance at that. It looks like they're creating textures out of the UV resin by putting the droplets in there. How long before they take this technology and apply it to FDM uh, manufacturing for 3D multicolor 3D printing? How long until they take those droplets and drop them and drop them and drop them and can create a multicolor 3D print out of it? I think that's where this technology may wind up going eventually. I don't know how long it'll take there. I don't know if it'll go there, but I can envision that happening at some point. I still think FDM will be cheaper for quite a while because the resin's probably pretty expensive. But I can see that happening. You would definitely get higher quality prints because resin printers, when it comes to layer lines, are absurdly better. Uh, but I've yet to see, and that doesn't mean this doesn't exist already. You gotta get that Momo. Uh, a multicolor resin printer. A long time ago, when I first got into resin printing, I experimented with alcohol inks with resin, and that was a science experiment. That was like 4 or 5 years ago, though. And that's when I learned that resin is a mess, and it requires much more ventilation than standard PLA, PETG, and TPU ventilation it requires. Uh, but that's a cool printer to see that you can do textured works of art. I think that's really a good way that they're pushing the market. I thought I saw that on Kickstarter. Am I mistaken on that? Is that on Kickstarter a while back? Now, here's the trade-off with a machine like that, though. This is Ken looking at the other side of the penny. It was okay, so it was on Kickstarter. I thought I saw it pop up on my Kickstarter feed. Here's the other side of the penny, though. What does that do to the artists that do the textured paintings and stuff like that? We kind of saw it with that fad. I don't know if it's still a fad that just came through with AI. Everybody creating those caricatures with the AI and how fast it can do it, like 3 seconds or something like that. It can create a caricature of whatever you tell it to. What does it do for the artists that uh, the characters that do characters? I mean, it's just a trade-off, the juxtaposition. I'm always about, well, not always, but majority of the time, I'm about technology and innovation, but also what the impact it might be into the artists that it could involve. But I think it's a cool technology. The droplets are really, really cool to watch on that little short there that they had. It's pretty innovative, in my opinion. Um, I'm interested to see and look more in about it and how the resin gets put into the printer. I heard that you can only, when the Kickstarter was coming out, that you can only print with their resin. I don't know if it's true or not. I just heard that. Uh, but it's cool to see, especially with those textured prints like that. I thought it was Van Gogh Starry Night that you could kind of replicate it. Everybody can have their own Starry Night printed off their Eufy Make printer. But it's just another example on how these companies are trying to push innovation. And uh, with the Bambu resin printer that's coming out, I think that's Bambu trying to capture share of that market. And what does it do to companies like Anycubic or Frozen or Elegoo that are heavily in the resin business? Does it make their R&D development change? Because Bambu is known for taking a technology and making it way more user friendly. When multicolor came out, 3D printing in general, they, in my opinion, are the ones that took everything and made it the ecosystem it is. And I still don't think anybody's caught up. You can debate me on that. That's fine. There are other ecosystems out there, but I don't think they're anywhere as polished as what Bambu has put out with Studio and Maker World, and they've just done that really well. And yes, I like my Bambu stuff, but I also am open to other machines too. If somebody else can do it with as good as Bambu, by all means do it. It just breeds more healthy competition for us. Make sure I cover everything in my notes here. Oh, I'm supposed to tell you what printer I wouldn't buy again for my farm. And that's a hard one for me Iceman74, what's up? Just got off work. All right. Tonight we're talking about what we are looking at criteria-wise for what we're going to invest our hard-earned dollars in here at the Glorious Geeks for multicolor 3D printers in 2026 for our mini farm. I wouldn't qualify myself as a farm just yet for sure. But to recap short here, our criteria is ecosystem, quality, uh, material saved, and time saved. And one of the criteria that we think is going to become less prevalent and to many people's surprise over time is going to be that material saved, because it's here. Material saved is a baseline now. The tool changers are making it a baseline at the affordability price point. I think we're going to get used to that now, just like we got used to multicolor capabilities when it first came out. We're going to get calloused to that. So these other technologies and companies are going to have to find out how to do it and make it more marketable to us. And that's where the ecosystem criteria is going to become more prevalent. And then I was talking about what printer I wouldn't buy for my mini farm again. That's a hard one. My gut wants to say the A1 Mini because of the build plate, but the recent addition of the plate cycler C1M has me rethinking that, because it doesn't, it kind of offsets that build plate restriction. If I can shoot off 10 build plates and the time it takes one of these machines to do it, that's fine. But it does still add to that multicolor waste. So what I'll do with that machine, and you'll see that in the review video, I hate to say it, but I won't buy that Arco. I feel you, Iceman. I feel you. That one's a hard one for me. I kind of excluded that from my answer because that's like a nebulous thing for me right now. I had some fun times working on that. But current printers that I have in the studio, uh, I don't think I would do this Centauri Carbon again. Nothing against the Centauri Carbon. It's great. But what I got it for was the multicolor at the time. This was a year and a month ago now. I wouldn't buy that printer again for that. Definitely learned a lesson hard on that one. Alan, Ender 5 Max, never again. Yeah, I think everybody's got the printer that they would never buy again. And I say this Centauri Carbon, but they have been great. I mean, extremely great. Outside of, actually, I'll just show you guys. So outside of the one that's on the left there, the rest of them, the other two, have been extremely great at providing me single color prints. The one on the left, I'm still waiting for on parts, and that's another criteria really we should think about when we're buying multicolor or buying these printers is availability of parts. So the one on the left you see over there, that one is down, and it's been down for about a month now because the PCB that has the hot end connector to it, the connector came off of the PCB when I disconnected it. And that's, from what I can tell, is a known issue because Elegoo is sold out of those PCB boards as repair parts. And you have to contact customer service in order to get one. I did way before uh, uh, the Lunar New Year, and they still haven't gotten the part out to me. I think I actually just got tracking for the shipment yesterday or the day before, so that's on its way. But availability of parts matters. But the other two are still going great, and now that I know that is an issue, I can be aware of it going forward. But Iceman74, I bought mine for multicolor too. Yeah, someday we'll get that back, won't we? Or we'll get that promise fulfilled, they say. Hi, Momo. Um, and yeah, and when we get it, it's gonna be too late. It's uh, it would almost have been better if they had not promised the multicolor capabilities for it, shipped it for what it was. I still probably would have got the ones that I got, uh, and used it for that because it was extremely affordable. But I wouldn't buy it again with the expectation of multicolor because, and it's a lesson that I had to learn. Don't buy a printer on what it's promised, buy it what it has. Uh, but it's extremely great for the prints that come off of it. It's fast. It rocks and rolls for sure. But I still use it in my farm. I just wouldn't buy it again for my farm expecting it to have multicolor. David Walton. Centauri Carbon 1 users made about multicolor join the Anchor Make M5 users group. Yeah. At least they got a printer. Anchor Make did not come through with that printer. That's rough. But it's it's been one of those things as the farm. I gotta figure out a better way because it's technically underground. What's an underground farm called? If you guys know, drop it in the chat, um, or in the comments if you're watching the replay. That'd be a cool nickname for the underground farm. Um, but it's just something as I've learned along the way that matters is buy it what it's for, not what it's sort of promised. And then again, I wouldn't get the Centauri Carbon 2 because, in my opinion, it's outdated tech. I'm sure it works very well for what it is. Multicolor still got a day late and a dollar short to the Olympic race is what I would say. Uh, Nothing against the machine. I just I see them taking that canvas system that is on there and making it into a tool changer. I will say that. They'll do it. I don't know how long it'll take, but it's gonna happen. It's got all the components to be easily done, I would think. I'm not a R&D and research and developer for Elegoo, but it's very similar built to the FlashForge Creator M5 that's coming out, which has 4 tool heads and a side loaded filament changer. Subterranean farm, something along those lines. Uh, I see some creators, content creators out there like 3D Print Ranchers, or I mean, all sorts of different things. The Gadget Grotto is what I've come up with as a moniker of the studio, but like, what is like a good uh, subterranean farm? Uh, it's almost there. What would they call it if it was on Mars? Like if they, I feel like there's a name on the tip of my tongue that uh, like when scientists put a farm in an environment that is not usually meant to be put in. I'll figure it out. I'll have to thumb through this thesaurus if I can say the word, but it's this this 3D printing world is changing, and that's part of the reason why you're seeing these laws struggle with hydroponics. Oh, can we? That's a good one. Can we combine that with 3D printing, printerponics? I don't know, something like that. Subterranean printerponics. Uh, but these lawmakers are struggling to keep up with the innovation, and we've seen it with older technologies, cameras when they came out, computers when they came out, accessibility and the pace that we're on. Um, but it's a good time to be in. Scary time to be in with the legislation, but it's a good time to be in for to see all the innovations coming. Um, and like I said, I'm really excited to see what Bambu comes out with for our price point. Underground fusion ponics. That's pretty close. Underground fusion ponics. FDM. I, I feel like there should be like FDM in there somewhere. We can change what FDM, the acronym means. Underground Fusion something M. Something cool moniker on that. Um, I just, I'm so excited to see where we're going in 2026, guys. And I hope you guys are too. Um, and for those of you OGs that have joined the live stream since the midway point, uh, announcements to keep you guys up on the channel. I just got the notification from YouTube that we met that I say just, it was like yesterday or the day before, but it's like a week behind. It's weird. Um, that we met the criteria for monetization. So shout out to everyone on that. Thank you for attending every week uh, and grinding it out with us here in Print and Pretzels. And I hope this has been entertaining. And if there's things that we can improve on, please drop them in the comments, or Replay Family, drop them in the comments. I really actually have a lot of fun doing these live streams and connecting with you all and answering questions if you have troubles with your printers. Um, but that monetization first tier, where it unlocks, I think, like the super chats and the memberships and things like that. That's the application. I filled out the application for that. It takes 30 days, they said. But that's a milestone that we have met, and I'm so very proud of us all for doing that together as this glorious geeks community. And what pushed us to that edge, and it's a test to the innovation that's coming to this space and how hungry people are for this content, is the Snapmaker U1 and that innovation that's coming forward. The last two videos have just blew up uh, on those, uh, the 7,000 swaps, and then the comparison between the two machines. Uh, Iceman, that is awesome news. Yes, and feel free, if you my contact information's in the description of most of our videos and stuff. If you guys or our Facebook, you can message me on Facebook. If you guys have input on what that monetization first tier, the memberships and stuff like that could look like, because I don't want to be that content creator that puts things behind paywalls, because that's not fair, because we're a community. But I do got to keep the lights on and food on the table. So whatever you guys think, I'm open to suggestions. And I want to be that type of creator that takes the community. Oops, careful, Momo. Takes the community feedback, and you get to see that implemented as best ways possible. But it is awesome. And then also this week, we got our first review printer in from a company, and I'll switch it over. You saw it earlier a little bit on Alpha Centauri. The Wonder Maker ZR arrived, the enclosure arrived last week, but the actual printer got here this week. And Wonder Maker wants us to film some content on there, the unboxing, and then like a review. I'm allowed to say whatever I feel on the printer, and there's like no money had been changed hands, but it was provided to us for review. And something that I really want to like get in on, and if you have this printer backed on Kickstarter, the Ultra version of the ZR, I'm curious to see if it's the same frame as the ZR Ultra. They didn't have any review units ready yet for that ZR Ultra. That's the tool changer, but I'm curious to see if the ZR, maybe they'll offer an upgrade path at some point for the tool changers. But that's another cool announcement that we have for the studio this week, that we are gaining traction. And I did get the content filmed for the BQ status. That thing actually, I'm really surprised on how surprised I was on how useful it is. Uh, I wasn't gonna get one, but now that I got one, I'm constantly looking over at it to see where the status is on my print. I didn't think it would be as big of a thing, but sometimes during the color changes, the printhead just sits there, and I'm wondering, okay, is it color swapping for a minute and a half, or is it not going? Because I can't see the screen on those little toggle screens. But now that the pin of status is on there, I can actually see it and visualize it. And if it's red, obviously I know there's something wrong with it. I got to go check it. Or if it's got the status bar on there, like you can see the progress on the bar here. It's really got that H2 vibe to it. And it wasn't that hard to install either. Um, and I got the Panda status. I have it unplugged right now because when it goes off, it is super loud, and I haven't programmed it properly yet. I haven't done that yet. I know you can, but if it were to go off on the live stream, it would probably hurt your guys' ears on the other end. The other night when I was sleeping, it went off in the middle of the night, and I had completely forgot that I had it on there, and it woke me up in the dead of the night, and I'm pretty sure my neighbors thought somebody was breaking into the house because it's that loud. If you don't program it when you install it, so I got to go back and program it and install it. But kind of a blooper moment for you guys to to experience with me on that one. And then again, I just filmed uh, uh, the testing of the purple plate for the VQ. Uh, it's the same thing as the blue plates, just purple version, and it works like a charm. I had one issue with it, but it wasn't the plate's fault. My bed wasn't quite level, so it didn't, when it put down the first layer, it didn't adhere to the plate because it wasn't fully like pressed into the plate. That was user error, not the plate's error. Everything else, since leveling, manual toggling into a leveling, it's been fine, more than fine. I'm actually looking forward to refreshing the plates I do have because I think I've had these blue plates on all these machines for quite a while, and our color schemes on the Glorious Geese are kind of like black, orange, and the lime green. And then they just released the lime green version, so eventually I'll refresh the blue plates into the lime green ones and move the blue ones over to the Centauri carbons because they kind of work there. But their stuff is great. And shout out to them for sending me those test units. At some point, I will get more of the status bars to put on the other two machines just to have that print monitoring. Even though these are going to become single color prints at some printers at some point, it's still going to be useful to be able to monitor that from across the room where I can't see if when the nozzles or the tool head's not moving. It's just useful to have and more useful than I expected it to be. Uh, I'm also going to test out the uh, Delight. I can't remember what it's called right now. Uh, the Panda Lux in there in conjunction with and without the LEDs I installed in the risers and see if it really just makes it pop more. I want to get the maximum I can out of the cameras for time lapses. But I just want to share this moment with you all on how far we've come since the early days of Print and Pretzels. Some of you have been there since I was doing Print and Pretzels mobile on the hotel room with Alfie printing from there. That we've come a long ways as a community from those days. uh, you can check out some of our shorts on our channel. At one point in time, I was doing a shorts video with Alfie at Panera Bread. I was in the parking lot printing with Alfie and Panera. But we've come so far, and I've learned so many different things as far as like editing and doing content. Uh, it has been a journey, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been on this journey with me every week. And I hope that others that have joined since then continue this journey together as we evolve this community together. And we share this with the cats, who really own the studio. Um, oh, I will tell you that the frozen Arco enclosure over the last few weeks, uh, unexpectedly, the cats really like it as a scratching post. I did not expect that. They have really taken to it. I had to put some cardboard around it to keep them from scratching it for right now. Um, but they have really taken the liking that enclosure. Someone said a few live streams back that I should turn it into a cat house instead of an enclosure for printers, and it's not a bad idea. Uh, just to purpose it for something else. I really want to turn it into um, an enclosure for like two printers, so I can turn it into a not necessarily a resin printer, but a UV camera zone for like a glow zone print area. That's one of my to-do list wish list projects. Oh, I got two of the four critters up here with me. But I'm thoroughly enjoying this journey that we're all on together in the 3D printing hobbyist world. Whether we're getting scary legislation come out or new innovations come out, I'm glad that we can come to this channel and talk about it together uh, and explore different printers like we did with the Eufy Make printer. I didn't know anything about that. I saw it on Kickstarter, but with everything going on in my life, I didn't take the time to look at it. But now on Print and Pretzels, I know that something cool is coming to this innovative space, and that's because of you all. So I really appreciate that. Shout out to Alan on that one. I think it was Alan, just make sure. Yeah, Alan. I appreciate the bringing that to my attention on that. I'm actually really excited for the co-print printer that's coming out. I think that has a possibility to do something in the space that isn't really been done before. And it's got a 300 by 300 frame, but it's got the four tool heads that share a guide rail. So I think that'll be interesting. And it's advertised. Alan, you can pay me later. um, the co-print printer is advertised to be sub like $500 price range from their graph. Mom, are you trying to eat pretzels too? Are you trying to eat pretzels too, buddy? Dante got into them after the live stream last week. Um, those are dill pickle, buddy. I don't think you're gonna like those. I'm still pumped for Atom Form. I hope they release new stuff soon. Again, Iceman, I am too. I still got that $50 back there. I think that could be that ecosystem if they do it right. Instead of Bambu, they have the AMS units that they're advertising. They have the 12 nozzles that they're advertising. They have that time change that David was hinting at earlier about having that filament ready to go in when the other one retracts, saving that time for nozzle swaps. I, I, I am super excited. They're supposed to, they have a Discord channel. I've been kind of lurking in it to see if they have any updates. They did say that after the lunar holiday, they'll be coming out with some content. So we're probably going to get some news around that. And that the next event, I can't remember what they said it was going to be. TCT, whatever event is in April, they're going to have live printing there. So that's really exciting to see because I want to see that 12 nozzle. That's like what Bambu did with the H2C, but they brought it to the $1,000 price point. What does that mean for the H2C? What does Bambu do with that? Like, what would that cause Bambu to have to do with the H2C? Because the Atom Form, if I remember correctly, was like 300 build volume. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's right around that range. It's got a significant build volume area. Even if it didn't, 12 nozzles for 12 colors, and technically 36 if you allocate 3 colors to each nozzle, which would create some waste, but not as much as it would be if you did 36 colors on current generation machines. So I am also very excited for that printer. It is crazy on the innovations that's coming out. I'm excited for the FlashForge toolhead changer to come out. I don't know if FlashForge is going to do one or not. I would be surprised if they don't, but I'd like to see them do an AMS unit for their machines. Some sort of material system instead of just having it on the side. That's great for budget, but what if I want to expand my printer to more than just 4 colors? Same thing for Snapmaker. I would love to see them come out with an AMS type unit for their machines uh, because that would solve a couple of issues, drying your filament while printing and also being able to do more than just 4 colors. So I think those are opportunities for improvement and expandability in that ecosystem that we talked about earlier. Uh, Vizier Ultra. I think David is the one that has that backed on Kickstarter. I'm excited to see what he thinks of that unit when they get it. I'm excited to see what RZR looks like when it comes out, how user-friendly that is. Is it as user-friendly as the Elegoo printers are when I can just throw it into Orca Slicer and send it and go? or is it more of takes more tinkering to work with? Juan, I got myself a SnapMaker U1. I want to start selling stuff, but I have no idea what I'm going to sell. At least I know I got a good printer because of you. Juan, I appreciate that. You, ours is still going, man. I am very impressed. I keep doing this. One of these days I'm going to eat my own words, but I haven't had to work on it yet. I did the maintenance period on it, but I haven't had to even unclog a nozzle. Let alone have to work on it. And that, to me, that's important. It saves me time. So yes, in my opinion, and I think most of the market right now is opinion, you did get a very good printer. Um, and I'm hoping they bring expandability to the printer. That I can't wait for that top hat. BQ has got a top hat and a development for the SnapMaker U1 to enclose it. I'm really looking forward to that because I got furry management here that they don't go into the printer, but they're curious. So it would just help keep the cat hair and stuff out of there. Uh, I'll give you guys a little bit of a preview blooper. I was recording a video the other day, since we're on the back half of printing pretzels. I'll give you this as a nugget. I was recording a video the other day, and I was petting a cat in the video, and I didn't realize it, but I collected a big old ball of cat hair, and it stuck to the back of my head, and you can see it in the video. So be on the lookout for that one when it drops. I'm gonna keep that in there as humor content for the video. One, I'm going to build a custom one with the IKEA box. That is a very popular enclosure that is out there for the printer. I have the kit that is the acrylic kit that you can buy from Blue Rolls. I have it here in the studio. I just haven't had time to print the pieces for it. And there's like 3 different versions you can print. So I got to sit down and like actually look at what that entails and which version I actually got. But I also still have backed the U1 top cover. I'm hoping that at some point I can get my hands on the BQ one to test out because they're supposedly you're able to put the pan of breath inside of that machine at some point to enable chamber heating, which opens up more different types of filament like ABS possibly on this machine and would hopefully solve my PETG lifting issue on the small connection points for PETG. Well, I live in Colombia, so I guess I'll get the printer in a month or something. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't think it'd be too much longer. I know for us in the United States here, if you order it right around now, you get it sometime in the mid-March. So I would think since you're still on our side of the hemisphere, I guess, hemisphere? On our North and South America, you would get it around the same time, maybe a little bit later for logistics, but I'm excited for you. It's it has changed the way I look at multicolored printing. I promise you. I no longer, if I have a color that needs to be printed that's a taller color, I won't print it on my P1Ss anymore because of all the filament swaps. I'll print it on the U1. It saves so much filament waste and time. Yeah, I want to cover it as soon as possible. I live in a dusty place, so I don't want to get issues when swapping heads. Juan, my best suggestion for that right now, until you get the IKEA top hat, just make sure that the pogo pins, those little snap connectors, and the 3 prong connectors, that they're just kept clean, and that the pogo pins themselves, you keep some good grease on. If you want to know a good maintenance, you can check out our U1 maintenance video that I did. It's directly extrapolated from what SnapMaker recommends for their maintenance videos. I did that ahead of time for anyone that's getting the U1 because eventually we all are gonna have to do maintenance on our printers. So that's an important thing to cover. And if you do live in a dusty place, it is gonna interfere with your nozzle swaps over time. No problem, no problem. Glad I could help, Juan. A3, hi. How's it going, A3? Welcome to the live stream. We're just talking shop about 3D tech, what's coming out, what our criteria here in the Glorious Geese is going to be for any sort of 3D printer investment that we make going forward. I'm really hoping SnapMaker comes out with an ecosystem around their printers, whether it's it's adding AMS units to it, so you can dedicate 4 colors to one tool head, or it's adding other features, whether it's a dryer, some stuff like that, or what Bambu's answer is going to be. That's what we've been covering here tonight. And also we've been doing some celebrations here on the channel for small channels. A3, I just got the Snapmaker U1. What do you think of it? Absolutely love ours. The only upgrade that I have done to the machine is I got the BQ build plate from BQ to help with bed adhesion, because there was reports, and I had an issue myself with the standard build plate, this one here. I've had it up on the wall for about a month now. I haven't gone back to it. Some people have adhesion issues, and I had some adhesion issues with some PETG that I tried to print out with it. So I tried out the Snapmaker, or the BQ cryo plate for the Snapmaker U1, and I really haven't gone back since. So in our U1 videos on our channel, you can find that link in the description there if you want to get one yourself. It does help the channel out a little bit. We get like a 30% kickback, but don't feel obligated or anything. It helps with bed adhesion 100%. Like I said, I haven't gone back to this thing. If you check out the past live streams, you'll see it sitting up there on the wall, and even during recordings. I'm going to use it for like a relic for when I first got the machine. Looks like I glitched a little bit there. Can you guys still see me? Alan, Uncle Jesse did a video on 3D printing U1 top frame that works for an IKEA storage bin. Yes, I think that was the one that Juan was talking about. I have a small channel and I'm trying to grow it. Any tips? Also, if I end up buying the plate, I'll go and get it off your link. I appreciate that, A3. It's a grind. The best tip that I can give for small content creators, I'm still one myself, is don't give up. And the hardest part is when you're editing videos. Editing videos is a struggle. That's where I struggle personally as a creator, because you don't know what's gonna pop off per se, or what's not. But don't give up, because you'll get there. The creators that give up obviously won't get there, and we just got there ourselves. I mean, literally, I think it was either today or yesterday that we literally just hit that YouTube partner program threshold. There's 2 parts to it. There's the 3,000 watch hour threshold, and then there's the 4,000 watch hour threshold. And we just got to the 3,000 one. So with time, dedication, and grit, you can get there. The best thing, the thing that I struggle with the most is finding a good microphone. And some of our OGs for the live stream here can attest to that. A3, I'm right there with you. I'm trying to balance school and YouTube. I'm trying to balance a full-time job, being a full-time father, a good partner, and a YouTuber, and run a small 3D printing business. So I get the time constraint. So hang in there, buddy. You can do it. Just when you feel like you're in that valley and you're like, man, things aren't generating, that's usually a sign when things are going. Like, I remember when the videos for this channel were only 20, 30 views after a few days, and I'm like, man, why is it not going? I had DJI mini mic, so that's what I've been using. It's great. You can notice the camera background. Let me know when it catches up. Juan, if you can hear me, I will get you that link right now. Just trying to make sure I get you the right item. Uh, you can't hear because I've paused what I'm saying. I'm just looking something up for Juan. Oh, I see what's switching. Ah, can you hear me now? How about now? What about now? There we go. Okay, that should have caught everything back up. So note to self, duct tape the power cord into the laptop. All right, I appreciate it, guys, working through that technical errors with me, and I appreciate you, Juan, for grabbing that affiliate link there. Uh, yeah, so as you can see, there are struggles when it comes to content creation and things like that. A3, um, you're only as good as the technology you have at the time. So don't get too frustrated with stuff like that because, as you can see, uh, things will happen out of random. So just keep chugging along and you'll get there. It just takes a lot of time, dedication, and grit and support from your family. I can't say enough on how supportive uh, my fiance has been, and her mom and dad. They're super supportive, and so is little Gizmo, even helping me take 3D printers off every morning. Even he's doing his part to help out the channel here. So family is important too when it comes to supporting the channel. Absolutely, A3. That's what and it's not just me. It's what I want our channel to be about is the kindness in the 3D printing community, because we're all learning and growing through this life together, and we can help each other out and grow through that. Because there's gonna be things like, I think it was like 2 live streams ago, I couldn't figure out something out with my U1, and I think it was, I might get this wrong, but I think it was Iceman that helped me out and said, "Hey, check out your program build size for your U1," because for some reason it kept running into the edge of the Z-axis or the X and Y axis. And in Orca Slicer, there's a setting you can change it, and for some reason it changed itself to 271 by 272. It's supposed to be 270 by 270. So we're all here to learn together and enjoy this hobby together. And I appreciate the compliment. So I hope everyone tunes in next week on Printing Pretzels. I'll have some cool things going on by then. I should have the Wonder Maker up and assembled. Uh, again, I thank you guys so much for helping the channel get to where we're at today. We're at that first tier. The application is into YouTube for the YouTube Partner Program. Thank you guys again for attending the live streams and grinding it out with us. And if you have any questions, save them up for next week and drop them in the chat and Printing Pretzels, or send them over into the email that I have on the description on all our videos. Until next time, be glorious.